Hey, what's up, everybody? I've been really impressed by all of the Sigma art lenses released in the past year. They definitely have some unique lenses out, like the new 14mm f1.8 for astrophotography and the popular crop sensor zoom lens, the 18 to 35 f1.8. They're also putting out lenses to compete with some well-established Canon lenses, such as their 12 to 24, albeit that competes with the 11 to 24, and the 24 to 70. And from what I've heard, they are of similar or even better quality. I'm in the market for a fast zoom, maybe a 70 to 200 or a 24 to 70 with an f2.8 aperture. Over the last year or two, I've been slowly realizing the limitations of the workhorse kit lens, the 24 to 105 f4. It truly is a jack of all trades and a master of none. The red ring insinuates a high-quality L-series lens, dust and water resistant, built to last. The 24 to 105 focal range is very versatile, but if you're shooting a lot indoors, that f4 will start to show its ugly grainy face as your ISO gets pushed up to its limits. It's also not the sharpest lens I've ever used, even when stopped down to f5.6 or 6.3. But again, if you're using this lens, it's because the focal length is so big and useful. This is my most used lens, as I've mentioned before, so I'm very cautious about replacing it. So instead of jumping in and buying, I had a concert shoot coming up, so I decided to rent the 24 to 70 f2.8 DG OS HSM art lens for Canon EF, and I have some overall thoughts on it. Keep in mind this isn't an in-depth review, just some points worth noting if you're shopping around like I am. Let's get this out of the way first, the price. This lens is roughly 2,000 Canadian dollars after tax, and I spent about $40 renting it for a day. So I'd have to use it at least 50 times to make it a worthwhile purchase. Like its Canon counterpart, this lens is built to last. It is splash and dustproof and backed with Sigma's 7-year warranty. If you don't use it 50 times in 7 years, I'm not sure what to tell you. I'm still shooting between Canon and Sony bodies, and I believe that Canon EF mount lenses are a better investment for a few reasons that I think I've gone over in other videos. The main one is that you can adapt them to any mirrorless camera. Sony E-mount lenses only work with Sony E-mount cameras, and you can thank our old pal Flange Distance for that. Anyways, the bottom line is that I can take this lens off my 5D Mark III, stick it on my A6300, and have video autofocus thanks to MC11 adapter support. Prominently displaying that HSM in the name of the lens, which is short for hypersonic motor if you weren't aware, I was really hoping for a quieter video autofocus than the 35mm ART f1.4. It's certainly better than the 35, but it's not totally silent. Oh well, at least it's fast. Now, obviously I wasn't expecting it to be as good as a native Sony E-mount lens, but I'm mostly focusing manually when I shoot anyways, so it's not that big a deal. So I rented it for this concert shoot. I had my A6300 with my 35 f1.4 shooting 4K as my safety camera that I can just kind of digitally crop and zoom later, and I can always cut away to it. And then I had my 5D Mark III as my main camera with the 24 to 70 Sigma art on it, grabbing close-ups near the stage. Here are my thoughts. So, one thing right off the bat, I don't like that the focus ring and the zoom rings are opposite to the 24 to 105 Canon lens. This isn't going to be a problem for everyone, but for me, it was really annoying because I've used that lens for so long, and to just have them reversed is very jarring. Anyways, took some getting used to. The focus ring is nice and firm when manually focusing, but it is quite small. Zooming feels good though, and small adjustments were really easy to make. I really wish it was a longer zoom though. I didn't think I'd miss that extra little bit, but I did. I'd zoom right in all the way to 70 and was bummed I wasn't getting that extra bit that the 24 to 105 would give me. Also, I was a little underwhelmed by the f2.8. It didn't feel that much brighter than f4. It definitely is, and it saved me from having to bump up the ISO a couple times, but it kind of left me with a feeling like, oh, did I forget to stop all the way down? Oh, it already is? Oh, okay. Also, with that f2.8 aperture comes more glass, meaning it's a heavier lens, almost 10 ounces heavier. It's a real shame we can't get a 24-105 f2.8 lens, but that would be mad heavy. It would throw the whole convenience factor out the window. Oh well. Now, I didn't do a comparison to show you what the optical stabilization looks like on and off, but I was shooting with it on my monopod, and the footage looked really solid. I know there are other reviews on YouTube that show it, and if you're like me, you're gonna watch another 30 videos like this one before you buy it anyway. So, the lighting situation was not ideal. The lead singer was a lot hotter than the rest of the band, and I'm not just talking about her outfit. I shot wide open at f2.8 to get some nice depth of field, shutter speeds at 1/50th because I was only shooting 24 frames per second, and I was adjusting the ISO as she moved around because of the mixed lighting situation, but I stuck around 640 most of the time. If you're interested in my settings for the safety cam, which was just the A6300 with the Sigma Art 35 1.4, I was shooting at f2.8, which allowed me to keep everyone in focus. Shutter speed, again, at 1/50th because I was shooting at 24 frames per second, but I was shooting in 4K. And I left the ISO on auto. I didn't even think about the people moving in front of the camera as I was shooting up front. It did affect the exposure a little bit, so I won't do that again, but it wasn't a huge deal. So I shot in a more flat picture profile because, again, it was not an ideal lighting scenario, and it made it easier to match the 5D Mark III's footage afterwards. I used PP8 with a Cine 4 gamut, like Matt Johnson talks about in his YouTube video. I'll link it in the description if you're curious about the world of Sony picture profiles. I've been very happy with it so far. One last thing that I do want to mention is that if you do decide to use this with the A6300, you really do need a cage for it if you're going to have a tripod plate on it. It just really is that big of a lens. So my verdict is, I'd rent this lens again, but I'm not totally sold on buying it. There was nothing wrong with the quality of the lens, but I'm not sure that this is the next focal length I need to invest in. If you're looking for a high quality 24-70 2.8 lens though, this is quite a bit more affordable than the Canon 24-70 f2.8 II USM. Thanks for watching. Totally unrelated, but I recently picked up the Atomos Ninja 2 in an eBay auction, so I can do more tutorials out in the field. I was recording the camera menus for most of my tutorials straight to my computer, which wasn't really portable. Drop a like if you found this helpful, subscribe for more videos on the way, and if you want to see a specific video in the future, let me know in the comments below.